Because as you say, Paul, Forest Cup play, they finished third and you were in the UEFA Cup as well. And you
Yeah,
mentioned that you're really well remembered. And what helped that as well was a great goal you scored against Lyon. What are your memories of that night?
just insane, insane, really. I mean, I can't talk about that night without talking about the whole week because 3 days late, no, the next day, Frank Clark took me away with the reserves and I started and I played half a game. I think that was a feet on your ground job, on the ground job. And then I made my home debut on the Saturday against Manchester United and scored. So that week, like back page of the national press, twice in a week for this young kid, um, was mind blowing. But again, with that looking back, with that kind of projection, I took it in my stride. It was just, well, of course, that's what's going to happen. You're scoring goals at the top level, that's what's going to happen. And it was all natural to me. I didn't even read the papers, saw the pictures, was buzzing, but was like, that was that. Um, but yeah, that I was on the bench quite a lot for the European run, and Lyon were a good side. They were a really good side, and the previous two games were Auxerre, who we should have really lost to. How we beat Auxerre, I have no idea. Particularly away when Steve Stone scored a late winner, no, an early winner, and we just camped on the edge. The boys camped on the edge of their own box, proper Harry Maguire and everything, like tackling with their heads and everything. It was crazy. We should never have won that game. And then to get to the Lyon game and just being sat on the bench and just, and again, this isn't against the centre forwards, but when you start a game has a particular flow. So you can have world-class centre forwards, but you can see sat on the bench that they've been nullified. Yes, they could come up with something special, but ordinarily, you just let that run out. They it's like that old thing, isn't it? It's like if you don't change anything, you going to keep making the same mistakes. The same things are going to happen. You're going to get the same results all the time. So I was sat there itching on the bench, as was Bobby Howe, who I came on with, just thinking, just throw us on, because they were tired as well. And Frank Clark threw us on with about 26 minutes to go, something like that. And the look of fear in the two defenders' eyes that two young whippersnappers had come on. The first thing they did was put a ball over the top for me. And they were just like, right, this can't be happening. So anytime the ball came near us, they were walloping us left, right, and centre. And me and Bobby just put the fear of God into them. So much to the point where we were so camped in their final third because they dropped off deep because we were just going, me and Bobby, anything would just over the top, put it over the top. Like, I'll beat them for pace all day long. They're knackered. Old men, they're knackered. I'll do them. And we terrorized them. And the ball fell to Bobby on the edge of the box. And he had a volley. And the defender's just gone like this and just handled it in the box. And I don't believe in anything supernatural or fate or anything like that. It's not me. It's not me. Good luck to anyone that does. But something in me thought, right, follow this up properly, because if he misses this, I'm going to be on the end of it. And I think that level of belief can feel like the gods conspiring. You know what I mean? It felt other, which was great. So I do encroach on the penalty. If you look back, you see the penalty. I'm in the box by
I can see before
a
Stuart
couple of
Pearce has
yards.
even kicked the ball, you're
Yeah,
there. I can
so you
see
can see how eager I
determination. I
am.
can see, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the mentality in my head. I'm going to beat everyone to this ball. So I've looped around and made a run. Like you don't see anyone making it. I've made a run to be in the box, and the keeper's parried it. And it's crazy how I remember this moment because it's one of the biggest moments in my life. Up there with the birth of my child and all that kind of stuff. How time slows down, and I can remember it frame by frame by frame by frame. I can remember the keeper parrying it. No, I can remember sprinting in and seeing the keeper going the right way. I can remember it looking easy for him. It was a poor penalty, to be fair, from Skip. and he's parried it down. He could have caught it. And I've watched how it's come down, and it's just fallen. It's going to fall nice for me if I slide, and I've got a nice, simple half volley in the top left-hand corner, because that's where all the space was. And I've just done it exactly right. All the it's those 10,000 hours. That's everything you've been trained for. There was no thought process. It seems like there was a thought process now, but looking back, it's all instinct. It's training. It's in the moment. It hit the back of the net, and I stood up, and there's about 50 lads that I knew in the crowd, all there. So I'm like out to them, whoa! And it just went crazy. And at that, like this rush of, whoa, I've made it. I've made it. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. I look over at the A block. I knew my dad was there, and they were going, because that's where all the lunatics go. And that was going mental. All the lads are grabbing me. And then we've got to hold on. And that's the goal that got us through to face Bayern Munich. So up until possibly recently, it was arguably the most important goal in Forest's recent history, because it got us to that moment, along with Chet's goal against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, didn't get us through to the next round because they destroyed us at our place. Bearing in mind, they had Ziegler, Papan, Kahn, Mateus, Klinsmann. Yeah, they were all right.
Not a bad side.
They were all right. So if anybody ever has a go at me or my career, it's like, oh, who's the best team you played against? Well, I can list this team that I played against once. You know, that's not bad. Double World Cup winners.